A recent field day showed the ongoing results of a whole orchard nutrient cycling and on-farm composting experiment on a cherry and walnut farm in San Joaquin County. The Biologically Integrated Farming Systems event was hosted by Community Alliance with Family Farmers at Heartwood Farm in Linden, California, where growers Franz Weiler and Emma Wade have implemented whole farm cycling of nutrients and carbon using orchard waste.
Very minimalist in our conventional approaches with sprays and such, and so there's not a lot of artificial pushing in our landscape in general. We really are minimal and try to time it just right and that kind of thing. And so I think that nature is a little bit freer to express herself here in that regard. We are also transitioning to fully organic as well.
Making compost is fun.
Yeah, I was hoping you'd say that.
It's a lot of work, but if you can put that really the time it needs, particularly in that first couple of weeks, this thing is gonna cook, and you got to give it water. But it's amazing with those wood chips. So again, there's no manure that was added to this. This was wood chips and green cover crop, and a lot of water. But it cooks.
So let's start by just looking at the title of this SARE grant just as a departure point. The beginning is biologically integrated farming. So what do we mean by that? What does that mean to be biologically integrated? Well, first of all, biological. That means that it's living. It's a living system. For so long, we've had to been, I think, sort of economically been forced to deal with NPK and output and the economic output. But we're starting to come around to realizing that the biological health is maybe the most important foundation. So biologically and then integrated, of course, means things are woven together. This cherry orchard is not separate from this walnut orchard. It may be in the fruit that it produces, but just as you guys were sharing, that the sort of drifting of the way that you've managed this beautiful cherry orchard is drifting into the biological integrity of these traps and the biodiversity that is astonishing that you've accomplished on this farm. The other title of your thing is called Whole Orchard Nutrient Cycling. And so it's not partial orchard, it's not, the nitrogen cycling. It's the whole aspect of this orchard taking what's on this farm and trying to capture that in a meaningful way. And we'll get into what compost and why it's such an ancient art that is now becoming a modern art, and why the art of composting has become such a brilliant tool for farmers nationwide, worldwide. So when we start talking about compost, we really have to shift our understanding. Yes, compost has nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, and it will deliver that to you, but that is not what you're looking for when you're wanting to apply compost. What you really want compost to have is vitality and a certain balance of factors. We're starting to realize, I think all of us as producers, that the more local you can be, the more economically sound it can be. And composting can be extremely local. Look what they've done. They grew their cover crop, they limbed their trees, and now they've created their own fertility. And it's become this wonderful circled system, right? That is cost saving in itself. Let's not even mention the carbon footprint savings as far as not trucking things here and there, but they've kept it local.
The project was made possible in part through a Sustainable Agriculture and Research Education grant program known as SARE. The compost pile will be spread back into an 18-acre section of the farm. More information and resources about on-farm composting are available at the Community Alliance with Family Farmers website, caff.org. For My Ag Life, this is Kristin Platts.